Hey, what's up guys? It's Ronin here for our first episode of our Dark Souls 3 weapon review series. And in our first episode, I'm going to give it a little special treatment and review the Dragonslayer Spear. And, well, a little fun fact, this weapon has appeared in every Dark Souls game, and also it was my first weapon to +5, so it has a little place in my heart. But enough with that nonsense, let's see how you get this thing. And how you get this thing is by killing the Nameless King, and then once his area is cleared of all the fog, you just go on the opposite side of the bonfire, and then you'll come across a corpse, and then it will be there waiting for you. So, the requirements to wield this weapon include a 20 strength and 20 dexterity, so it's a quality build weapon. And it also scales with faith, but you don't require any faith to wield it. So, getting onto the damage, it comes with 198 physical plus 182 scaling. And it is split damage once again, so it does 122 lightning plus 13 scaling, and I'm sure that scaling increases with faith, but I haven't really put many of my levels in faith. I'm only at 20, so I'm sure if you go quality and faith, this thing will probably be a monster. So, how does this thing perform PvP? Well, before I go on anything about this thing in PvP, pair this thing with the Leo Ring. Since the moveset is mostly just thrust, it's going to work wonders with the Leo Ring. Because normally I'm getting around 250 damage per attack, but when I get a counter attack, this thing goes up to 300 paired with the Leo Ring. It's insane, let me just tell you that. So before you even think about using this thing in PvP, get the Leo Ring, and then we'll talk. So, how does this thing perform in PvP? Well, let's get the cons out of the way. So, the cons of this weapon are kind of scarce, and the only con I really found was that this thing is very parryable. If you have a decent player that is good with his parries, or just even knows to press LT, then you're probably going to get parried, because again, most of the attacks are thrust, and a lot of people are getting used to parrying thrusting weapons, especially S-Stock, and, well, you're going to be out of luck whenever you have a person wielding a small shield. So that's why I prefer using a different weapon that kind of changes up their playstyle. Preferably, I like the Zweihandler because it's a low-weight weapon, but it also changes up the playstyle dramatically, and it kind of makes them change up their playstyle as well. So that's why I prefer wielding the Zweihandler, because this thing is very, very parryable. But that's pretty much the only con I really found. The weight is 9.5, and that's manageable. But if you're trying to run a low weight or class that's using the Flynn's ring, I can see it being a problem, but really I don't really see it being a problem. But getting on to the pros, and there's quite a bit of pros as well. Again, the Leo Ring counterattacks do pretty good damage, and that's why I'm going to put it as a con, or not a con, a pro, because really that thing does incredible damage. And another pro is its skill attack. Yeah, it's quite devastating if you get the running attack and the lightning bolt in the same, or all the hits, because that thing does incredible damage. Let me just tell you that, because I was one time in Anor Londo, there was a ganker, and I killed his white phantom with just using the L2, and it's really good. Let me just tell you that. And if you want to clear some distance, well, use the L2, because this thing will just get up into their face and do a lot of damage. And that's how I've ended a lot of fights. If they're like on the slightest bit of health, I usually just go for the L2, and it mostly gets them unless they roll all the way. But this thing has really good tracking as well, which is just amazing. Another pro is, well, you can punish rolls, like a lot of punishing rolls, because you just have to time up your attack with the roll, and then you'll probably punish them a lot. And then, of course, if you just want to use this weapon just to R1 spam, you could do that as well. I'm not going to stop you, but really, it's just enough with the S-Stock that saying it with other weapons kind of weird. But yeah, you can R1 spam with this weapon, and it makes it pretty much like the S stock but in spear form. But that's pretty much the pros, and really, I love this weapon. And just remember to pair this thing up with another weapon so it changes up their playstyle, because you're going to get parried a lot if you just stick to an R1 spamming Dragonslayer Spear build. So yeah, just change it up, wield anything else, just don't stick with the Dragonslayer Spear, because if the person has any idea how to parry, then he's going to take that advantage, and he's going to punish you a lot. But really, the Dragonslayer Spear is really good. I enjoy it, and I usually just use it to finish off enemies, but if they're wielding like a great shield, then I'll use it just to R1 spam, because then they can't parry and they can't punish it. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Always like and subscribe to become an Onion Bro, and I'll see you guys in the next one. So, later.